some people to get up in here. Oh, that's a veggie burger, by the way. And we're about to get into some real stuff. I should have got a napkin. I think I will. Hold up. No, Sasha. You better not. You better freaking not. No. No, bad. I just had to get me a napkin. You know that I gotta stay focused. What we're gonna be getting into, Mr. Pamphlet I got from the Zion distro in the south side of Chicago when I was locked up, man. Them Zion distros are real deep. Go! Yeah, them Zion distros are real deep and they're real informative. They got good literature on it. This one's called Get Up, Stand Up, Unite, and Fight for What Is Right. The artistic, literary, and political thoughts of Young Gun, a.k.a. Mark A. Reed Bay. Now, everybody knows that Mark L. Reed Bay, that's Morris Shine's temple. Well, a lot of people should know that in the conscious community. Man, this joint jumping. They got rice, peppers, corn, all kind of stuff. I'm gonna eventually try to go vegan though. Man, let's go and get into a little bit of it. All right. Get up, stand up, unite, and fight for what is right. Mark Reed Bay. Here's a brief introduction. Mark A. Reed Bay is keenly discerning in his observations. He can pick the wheat through the chaff and find that needle. Like other conscious prisoners, he's frustrated by the banal preoccupations of his fellow captors. He calls the BET, Black Exploit Thoughts. He knows our chances increase as we create more free thinkers. What he says is true. They're prisoners. Rich fucking government is playing for keeps. He challenged me to write stronger. Hugo L. Pennell explained the problem most succinctly. Well, just hold up a moment. All right, we'll review it. We'll recap here in a second. That's some good stuff, y'all. Because half this stuff I'm about to tell y'all and show y'all, you can't get it in your everyday pamphlets and magazines or blog. All right, now we all gas, no break. And let's proceed. Okay, so Hugo Pennell explained the problem most succinctly. He says something like this: empire's biggest crime lies in our moral bankruptcy. Us souls have been poisoned by these criminal overlords. So each and every one of us must find our humanity, our courage, and our resolve. The most important strides are taken when a person generally clashes with himself or herself. It's a battle of will. It's about your whole life. The truth is out there. Got that? The truth is out there and can be accessed and used, but it's not a one-way street. You have to become capable of creating and articulating your own explosive new truth and motivating those around you to positive action that they have a hand in creating. So you gotta articulate, man, motivate the community, drop some of these jewels, don't cast your pearls before swine, and don't waste your time with people if they seem to not be taking the fruit, so to speak. Okay. This takes endless and focused thought to resolve perplexing conflicts and arrive at empowering insights, leading to creating revolutionary expressions and organized resistance to any and all oppression. You take stock in yourself and push in that direction, developing your unique talents and striving to realize your lifelong dreams and ambitions. What we all want is worldwide liberation. Once you gain this confidence in your own ability to do what is right, life will genuinely pulsate throughout your body. Your human imperfection and often addictions can be more or less controlled, and you can reason your way out of this madness that engulfs all of us. In short, your life becomes a real life. Even if your real life is lived as a caged animal, chest to breath, new oxygen and blood into it. Brother Mark has got soul, and I am lucky to be his comrade. Each one teach one and become one. That's from the Honorable Anthony, man. Anthony, he's over the some of the Zion distros in the south side of Chicago. Okay, you can't really see him, but that's bruh right there. Okay, so boom. He said, I consider myself as a political prisoner growing up in the city of Lynchburg, Virginia. 38 years old now, and at the home of Willie Lynch and his brother William Lynch. A slab of concrete still stands today along the James River where the former slaves were auctioned off. So now that's something for y'all to chew on too, who y'all ain't really in tune. Okay. So they still got a slab of concrete down there in Lynchburg, Virginia, where the former slaves was auctioned, called an auctioning block. Okay, and then it's funny that it's called Lynchburg, Virginia, too, right? That's what I thought. Okay, so Willie Lynch was a slave breeder who arrived on the shores of the James River in 1712. He stated, I have a bag of kits, if used correctly, will last over 400 years. And it did. He wasn't tripping. A few kits he taught his forefathers to use were jealousy, envy, and hate. Also, he taught to breed the light-skinned slaves with the dark-skinned slave and the nippy-headed slave with the non-nippy-headed slaves, and etc. Okay, see, that's crazy. Slavery still exists due to fascist educational system. Being poor, living in the inner city, I grew up around the proletariat trying to survive in the bourgeois world. I was not paying attention to his political standards and his evil social opinions. I had to survive for me. Being on my own at the age of 17 was hard, and I know all the tricks and the traits of the street, running numbers, selling drugs, and stealing just to get by. I continued to go to school, says Young Gun, playing football and wrestling. Running cross country was all in vain. My grandparents was always talking about slavery, the struggle and Jim Crowism laws of yesteryear. The subject really didn't dawn on me until I was sentenced to 51 years and 4 months in prison for masterminding and 16 counts of distribution of crack cocaine. Once incarcerated, I realized that I was a part of the rich political system that considers me as a slave legally under the 13th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Now, dang, let's just think about that, right? My man got 51 years and 4 months for crack cocaine and being a kingpin. They call him a mastermind, basically a kingpin. And then now you can see under the Constitution, the 13th Amendment makes you a legal slave. Okay. And this was at the age of 23 when he got sentenced to that much time. Prison was rough for him. For the first 6 years between fighting the pigs and prison snitches, he was led to long-term isolation. He was graced by playing God to change my condition and the 1,800 inmates around me. This old cat set me down and started schooling me how to do time in prison. He taught me to stand firm and fight for what's right and be willing to put my life on the line for a change concerning the people. I started reading everything I could get my hands on: history, law, socialism, communism, everything that I could get my hands on. And every book that I could find concerning the Black Panther Party pertaining to their structure. Mao Zedong, Little Red Book became his walking Bible. The mental lessons was a start, so he started training for guerrilla warfare. Red taught me that a good soldier prepares for war even when there ain't even battles. He later learned that Bobby Seale, Huey P. Newton, George Jackson, and Jonathan Jackson was his heroes because they put their lives on the line for what they believed in. My solution to the problem had to be much more structured than the movements in the early 60s because they dealt off emotions and got killed. Jackson said winning comes in destroying the system. There's a lot of lip pushes in prison. They sound good, but they won't stand up and fight for what's right to change the conditions we in. They'll fight and kill each other in their disorganized gangs, but they won't fight against the system. We all in the same struggle, whether you poor, white trash, hooded out blacks, or undercover Klan members. We are educated, underpaid, and understanding of the system on Capitol Hill in Washington. All right, so we're going to jump back for a second to Bobby Seale, Huey Newton, and George Jackson and Jonathan Jackson. Y'all need to go do y'all's research on them. They was part of the Black Panther Party, and they was riding it. Like he said, man, they stood 10 toes on everything and must gave their life, but they got people so brainwashed and delusional now, it's hard for people to even recollect or acknowledge that they got these capabilities to be able to do this stuff. You know what I'm saying? A lot of lip pushes. And then, yeah, disorganized gangs. Okay. Yeah, we see how disorganized these gangs is, man. Most of these gangs, Blood, Crip, Folk, BD, VL, whatever you is, Kings. Well, I ain't gonna say all of them, but man, most of the Bloods, Crips, GDs, and BDs out disorganized, and y'all are going against the whole structure that we supposed to stand on. You know what I'm saying? Furthermore, they do look at white trash in the trailer park or hooded out blacks or undercover Klan member. You know that they look at all us the same, and they say it's gonna take all the masses to address the educational system, the welfare reform, social security, and our living environments. I know I can make a change through my writing, so I joined every organization that I could from that point on. I've been exposing how the government exploits the masses through politics that keep us blind, deaf, and dumb, and we fail to understand his system, or if we fail to understand this system. Okay, a lot of inmates is content with prison and they living conditions in this society. Those who is on welfare Section 8 is content receiving $200 or $300 a month. We have to start depending on the government to provide for us. We must demand the government for our 40 acres of land and a mule so we can have our own produce and provide our loved ones. Okay, now it's alleged that, everybody got land. They ain't give us the 40 acres and the mule, but there was alleged that they had people, European peasants and a lot of immigrants coming over here with their family, and they had already had land and stuff set up before they even got up over here. And then it said when Martin Luther King started talking about, hey, we're gonna ride for these reparations, and that's when they got them up out of there. But okay, that's alleged, and we just educating ourselves. Okay. The mental dead must be awakened to create a war on a home front. There's a secret war going on by President Bush and his members to keep you and I in poverty and kill those who speak out. I hate that we subject to daily I hate the oppression that we subject to daily by racist pig and other races who attack you and brutalize and murder us. They have been brutalizing and murder us for over 400 years. Mal quoting. Politics is war without bloodshed, and war is a continuation of politics with bloodshed. Now, dang, think about that. That was busted off on us back then. Okay, Prescott Bush had a secret war allegedly to keep us at the bottom, and then they've been brutalizing us over for 600 years now. In politics, is war without bloodshed, and war is a continuation of politics without bloodshed. Okay, the mass of people do not want war, but we should always stand for peace, even though the fascist politics are not peace. And when his laws keep us in poverty, this is a form of war that has been unjustly waged against us in our community. Unjustly. However, a few moons ago, I ran across a Zion distro pamphlet in the box of my papers in the pod, so I decided to write. Then I met the comrade Anthony Racing, in spirit a true soldier who was standing strong for myself and others around the globe. Anthony sent me a Zion interview with him and brother Talib Rashid speaking on anarchy, revolution, economic hardship, and humanism. When I heard them speaking on humanism, it changed my communism ideas. See, bro felt communist at first. Brother Anthony asked Brother Rashid to explain spiritual humanism. Brother Talib Y. Rashid stated, spiritual humanism encourages us to strive and to know the truth and to perceive the reality that lie beneath all the illusions that we are bombarded with through the government, the media, even the education system. Unlike religion, it is a dynamic philosophy and it is not supported by or reinforced by the doctrines that largely defy common truth and reality. So most of the stuff they done told us in school and all that is not supported and reinforced by the doctrines that largely define the common truth and reality. See, man, we gonna get deep. I don't feel like, man, we should just waste our time. That's the most important thing we got, and I'm hoping that you get something out of this because, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that ain't really commonly busted off to you. You know what I'm saying? But let us continue. Okay, my newfound philosophy is humanism. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. This deals with simple human interests and values where dignity predominates. However, Anthony Racing states, I guess we have to keep doing what we're doing and trust that the goodness of people will come to the forefront and allow us to join forces and participate in the moral revolution of social humanism, where people will discard the veil of lives they lived inside, discover their humanity, overcome their fear and self-hate, and amaze the world with the power of love. Amen. Mao Zedong quoted, in our movements, we must make a basic investigation and analysis of the number of active supporters, opponents, and neutrals, and must not decide problems subjectively and without basis. Okay, rose from the concrete right there, little illustration. They got the rose from the concrete. Okay, red, white, yellow, brown, black by the Honorable Mark A. Reed Babe at WRSP. Right here. Look, it's encouraging black and white unity. You know what I'm saying? Now, he says, I'm a Moorish Moor in Spanish. Some may say Negro. I believe racism is a lack of vision. All around the world, we see races, governments, and religions lining up to take what they consider their rightful place in the world. The Jews are organized for Jewish power. The Arabs for Arab power. The Chinese are organized. The Christians are organized. The communists and socialists is organized. The Muslims is organized. And they all organize us for their benefit. Black folks are afraid to organize. And they is. Man, we is. You know what I'm saying? We the most divided people in the globe. Like, man, it was a point where they could have been like, oh, the white man, the do. But now, man, hey, brothers is doing more killing than brothers. Okay, so boom. They're always talking about relocating wherever it may be. If the black people in the U.S. were able to relocate tomorrow, would you have all the talent and the skills necessary to build and maintain a nation? We have for so long worked and depended on others for all our life-giving and life-saving elements. Could we now supply those elements to ourselves? We will not have to make earth-shaking decisions in respect to the lives of millions of people. Can we do that? Can we take orders from black people? Do we trust black people to make decisions for us? The answer to all of those above questions is no, due to the racism that exists among one another. Racism on a much bigger scale. Stop looking at racism as a whole and look at it from what race you are and see what role that you play with your own sex. Oh, okay. We can see the bigger picture pertaining to the racism in the schools, workplace, in the military, and etc. It'll never change. The Declaration and the Constitution of the United States are the forerunners to racism. As long as these documents exist, so do racism. Now that's his opinion, that's his expression. And on a large scale, yeah, he's right. He's right, because a lot of treaties, covenants, oaths, and statutes are violated, and hey, it's all down here. To each his own. That's how it's supposed to be. Your tribe is supposed to vibe, find like-minded people, and y'all do as y'all will. Okay, our children are being swallowed by ignorance and the education of the few of them that have knowledge of the most recent history of black struggle. So very few of the children have knowledge of the most recent black history or black struggle. White struggle, and even less understand the ingredients that run the world. They know nothing of the struggle of the 60s or before, but could without hesitation run down the plots of the latest black exploitative TV shows or movies. The danger, however, is that each generation of children are learning less and less from their families. Dang, this was written back in the day, man. It's almost prophetic, Television, tell a lie, is the babysitter and the teacher. As our association with white people become more refined and controlled, the interaction with our immediate and extended family should definitely increase and become more meaningful. And with this increased contact must come a higher level of study and work. Be calm and positive with each other. The future is moving in the hands of the people who care, and we must prepare. Their new liberation work will be unlike anything we undertaken in the past. It's true we cannot out violence the enemy, but we can outthink and outwork them. Move closer to each one, and a new vision will appear not only for us but for the world. Part 2 of Black and White Unity. Okay, look, got the little Africa doom. Yeah, with the that's a beautiful thing. Okay, so I mentioned in my last essay that we cannot out violence as the enemy, but we can outthink them and outwork them. Love is the savior of the world. Miss K. Amelia, Judia, Leonice, Brenda, Nick, and Miss Etta have put their lives on the line to fight against the fascist politicians that push their unjust laws to keep us enslaved and push this racism to separate us from uniting for one common cause. Okay, so now y'all check these names. Miss K. Amelia, Judia, Leonice, Lennis, Brenda, Nick, and Miss Etta. So you research some names and see what you come with, because evidently they was stepping hard for it. Okay. They pushing uniting for one common cause, but not like the New World Order as they envision it. And they it's just like the New World Order in a revolutionized way. But we're gonna continue. Okay, for this is the cause, and I can see why they killed Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King, and Malcolm X. It's because they were strong men with a cause. What's your cause today? Well, ain't too many people really got a cause today. But we should not allow the government to kill Fed Up, RIHD, VA Cure, or Human Rights Watch. They are trying to end all the cruelty and unfavorable justice that's bestowed upon us today. It makes no difference to them what color we are. Every time a politician wants to be put in the office, she or he attacks prisoners. Okay, society is getting sick and tired of you holding up their loved ones for capital gain. Bob Marley once said, "Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Don't give up your rights." Hey, this struggle that was over 40 years ago. He said this 40 years ago. Are we not in the same struggle? Have we given up, brothers and sisters? Like, that's some deep stuff, man. It seemed like it had. Justice shouldn't wear a color. Traditional American justice, very application, has created what it claims to remedy. For its eyes were truly covered, it does not see poor, white, or black reality, nor something I don't even know what that says. It's kind of, it wasn't printed correctly. Does not your Constitution guarantee a man's freedom, his human dignity, in state of encroachment? Or does the inmate fear the rebellious slave in the heart of the government that continues to this day to negate all those guarantees in case of the poor people? Does this cultural racist phobia make one forget to abridge his home constitution, as the court has done to us? We must not fall victim to the westernized tricks. Miss K stated, once again, I said go do your research on Miss K. And that would be Miss K Amelia. Okay, she stated that strength lies in numbers. Why have you given up so easily? You run to the movies to see the latest gangster movie. You run to the malls to spend your money on the latest hip hop clothing. Nevertheless, you read up on a government package that are put in your neighborhoods that cause you to kill each other. So you getting some seeds, that they going to get to the point where they tell you how these guns, how these drugs, and all this stuff getting in the black community, and it's a political prisoner. So let us continue. Okay, why can't you invest in these organizations and help re-up your lost loved ones back into society? Is not this white racism too? Or is this not black racism too? Are we losing the cause and the fight in vain? Marcus Garvey, he said, one God, one aim, one race. Up, you mighty nation, and accomplish what you will. We outnumber them, but our thoughts have been divided, and we would love his injustice to be like cowards and accept his injustice. What we're going to do about the racial discrimination, the mistreatment in the justice system, the long prison terms for nonviolent crimes, the mistreatment of prisoners' rights, AIDS, low incomes, the homeless, modern day slavery, violence, police brutality. Are we going to continue to turn the other cheek to this injustice and mistreatment that has been placed on us for hundreds of years? Why fed up? RIHD, VAQ, and Human Rights Watch continue to put their lives in the line, fighting for our freedom, justice, and equality. And this was written in 2007. This was by the Honorable Mark Anthony Reed Bay. So if that's an 07, that makes you think it was almost prophetical how he lined and shined this thing up. And in the end, I'm going to give y'all bruh's address because he got 51 years and 4 months for selling dope. So let us continue. The illustration of the black god. Okay, this is called the Katrina catastrophe. This is about Hurricane Katrina. Okay, the new American empire has declined after many years of robbing and raping the people of the motherland of their riches. This is the wealthiest country in the world who failed to protect her citizens in the South. Should we trust the United States government to secure our race for the future, like they protected the generation in the wake of 9/11? In September 2003, Hurricane Isabel struck North Carolina close and plowed inland, causing at least 40 deaths. Property damage was $5 billion. Many other hurricanes have hit the U.S. coast since 1940. Carol, Connie, Donna, Carla, Winnie, Betsy, Agnes, David, Allen, and the government rushes to the people with aid and food and clothing and shelter. If this is the home of the free and the home of the brave, why did our governments fail to protect the lower class blacks in Alabama, New Orleans, Louisiana, and Mississippi in the wake of Hurricane Katrina? Yeah, that makes you think. But hold up, we ain't got nothing yet. A great nation was built from the sweat and blood of our forefathers in the South who worked long hours in the tobacco and cotton fields for their slaveholders. However, we suffered from the Jim Crow era and withstood the suffering and pain at the hands of the Roman cross and their forefathers. This took place through many generations, and still today we is experiencing it at the hands of our government through a precise modern system. The power in America is held through Bush and the legislative body, and they have no real concern for the poor people in America. The military failed to protect poor blacks in the crisis of Katrina. People was left to die, left to drink poison water, and most of all, they was left hungry. Go. I'm sorry, y'all. That was the dog. And they was left hungry. How can a country with so much pride allow dead bodies to float down the street amongst citizens without rescuing them? Thousands of individuals were packed in the shelters, high-rising high-rising warehouses, football dormitories, or wherever they could find shelter. That's where they stuffed them at. And dead bodies was in out there for Katrina because the government refused to come and get them. This is the same packing system that our forefathers and mothers suffered during their voyage on the slave ship from Barbados to the New World in 1647. Now go research that. The packing system that our forefathers and mothers suffered. Then they voyaged from Barbados to the New World in 1674. You know, they try to tell you 1776, Mayfield 1776, with the Illuminati and all that. You know, when the search for the New World, but hey, we getting that real. They endured all types of infectious diseases like the people in Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, and New Orleans. Y'all pardon me. I got somebody trying to call me. They know I'm on live, and I don't know why they keep on calling me. I really do apologize. This is way more important. This I'm just gonna call and see what the heck she wanted. But that's crazy, right? How they did them people out there at Katrina. What's up, man? I'm on live and I'm doing work, and so what? Such as, I mean, you can bring me a couple energy shots, man, and maybe a little bit of gas, if yeah, Roach. Well, y'all. You gonna have to put it up when you come in. I'm on live and I'm doing something right now. So yeah. All right. Bye. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay. So in this crisis, the government's biggest attention was on the terrorists. Will someday the economic system in America crush the complete nation from greed? The director of FEMA, Michael Brown, he failed to comply with the demands of his job. What happened to our national defense system and homeland security? President Bush and Vice President Dick Cheney stripped the state mayors of Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and New Orleans of all their power to call on the National Guard, who could have saved thousands of brothers and sisters before the destruction took full effect. Okay, now that's sick. Now, see, they don't tell you that Bush and Cheney stripped Mississippi, Louisiana, and New Orleans, Alabama, and all these cats of their power to call on the National Guard. That's Michael Brown too, and the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Richard B. Myers, USAF, and Vice Chairman General Peter Pace, USN, were duping the media by telling lies. However, they decided to send a black general to New Orleans, hoping it would ease the suffering of the people. The government can't see past racism. They sent a white general to Baton Rouge to ease the pain of their rich white brothers and sisters. The media portrayed the blacks as ferocious people taking food. Now, that's how they was doing them Katrina people. Okay, so they portrayed them as ferocious people who was taking food and clothing for their babies in order to survive in the heavily populated race of blacks in Biloxi, Mississippi. The media portrayed the white people as angels who were trying to survive Katrina. New Orleans is a city of sin for the rich and famous. People from all around the globe go to New Orleans to engage in drug smuggling, illegal gambling, and high-priced prostitution. Why would the government not rebuild their city of sin? They claim that it's not worth rebuilding. So our brothers and sisters, they out there, they get flooded by Katrina, and out there in Mississippi, they feeling the effects of that. And they call them ferocious and beasts and animals because they want to get off up in the stores they survive, and then they strip the good National Guard of their power to come save people. Like, all that stuff could have been prevented, but you see, and do your own research. Don't take our word for it. Boom. So there you go. Okay. The poor race has endured the lash for years in North America. The government left the citizens of the South without food, clothing, water, and shelter for days. Can you imagine drinking contaminated water or walking in the impure water mixed with dead bodies and human dung? I couldn't imagine that. I couldn't. Somebody need to be held accountable for stuff like that. Even back to then, man, that should be a crime against humanity what them people done did. But anyway, man, gumbo has always been a favorite dish from the people in the South. They were fed a toxic gumbo on 8/29/05, and many was left to die. They fed these mugs toxic gumbo on purpose to kill them. However, many people died in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. But race played a big part in evacuating the thousands of blacks in New Orleans. President Bush inflicted a form of communism when he stripped the public power and state power. We are not living in the Soviet Republic of East Germany, which was built on communism. We must learn to love everyone no matter what shade of their skin. We living in a new era of time now, where color don't make a difference among humanity. We have to learn to love instead of hate. We have neglected our immersion of reality and the source of our self-nourishment. We must recognize that a black face only does not give an automatic credibility, but it is the first prerequisite in the struggle, existing under foreign domination as we do take our struggles beyond pure class analysis to one of values, culture, and race. The struggle is to understand the forces that control and manipulate our lives. An enemy is anything that consciously or unconsciously works against the race, even if it wears a black face. When true brotherhood exists among all color, where no one feels segregated, where there are no superiority complex and no inferiority complex, then voluntarily, naturally, people of the same kind of feel drawn together by all things they have in common. See, I don't ever tell you about that, you know what I'm saying, about how Bush stripped the state and, the federal government of certain powers and stuff so they couldn't help the people to be evacuated from Hurricane Katrina. And I know, man, this might seem a little bit long, but I don't be scripting my joints like most people. I'm coming straight off the cap, off the dome with this. And we ain't got many more pages to go, but I just think that you should really give consideration to what I'm dropping and how essential and valuable this information is. Because most people, when they start seeing the patterns, you got to go back to the beginning to justify the end. So maybe it's people in this generation or whatever that they don't believe that there's conspiracies or certain theories conspiracies out there and agendas out there to work against the people, and that we was headed to a new world order, but it's up to us whether we want to have a good world order or a bad world order. But either way, it's gonna get chaotic and off balance because, hey, it gotta get dark before it gets light. You know what I'm saying? It gotta get ugly before it get beautiful. But man, some of this stuff was written in 2007, 2005. Y'all start connecting the dots and then see what's going on now to this point. the agendas. It's little puzzle pieces they drop throughout the year to get us to that point. All right. In the wake of Hurricane Katrina, the destruction in the South is worse than the destruction of the Byzantine Empire, the Ottoman Empire, and the Pantheon Republic that fell at the hands of the French in South Italy, 1796 to 1799. So the Pantheon Republic that was busted down by the hands of the French in South Italy, 1796 to 99. The destruction of the South was worse than that. I need to go do my research on that because I really ain't sharp in that area either. Okay. There have been a lot of theological objections about what happened then as well as today in the wake of Hurricane Katrina. And this new era time, man, is rushing into life without complete knowledge of what's going on around them socially, politically, and economically. For millions of years, we have been classified in groups: black, white, Moors, Asian, Puerto Rican, etc. The social system plays a big role in how we think today. However, it played a big role in the evacuation of the hurricane survivors in New Orleans. Racism is at its highest sense during the time of slavery. People are being discriminated against in the workplace, in the schools, in their neighborhoods. Chief of Commander George Bush has to show and prove why he didn't rush to the millions of blacks in New Orleans when they was crying for help inside their homes with no food or running water, no lights. Bush spending billions of dollars on a war when he should be using it to feed the poor and provide better housing. See, that should let you know right there, man, them boys don't care about. They spend billions on war, but won't even say they own people when it could have been easily a lot of stuff with the flip of a switch, help the kings and the queens out. And then they instilled us the Puerto Rican and all these races. And that's what messed us up because we are human beings. We ain't black, white, Asian, all this stuff. I mean, we might allow them labels to stick to us, but at the end, we are human, you know. Now this right here, if this don't blow your mind, if this don't shock you, man, I don't know what will. You might need a loudspeaker to wake your butt up. All right. So we consider it genocide. Most people, we consider genocide what they did to them. But Bush and his forefathers had already planned to wipe out billions of lower class citizens all across the globe. Man, look at this, bro. According to their law, look this up now, the King Alfred plan. Rick's 84 and Global 2000 plan was exposed to the truth as being the government strategy against the people of color globally. Now, see, I guarantee you 9 out of 10 of y'all have never heard of the King Alfred plan, Rex 84, or the Global 2000 plan. So the King Alfred plan was designed to control, incarcerate, and destroy the black people if a national crisis or emergency occurred. The King Alfred plan was designed as a final solution to take the black problem they created when they stole our ancestors and brought them to America as slaves. Now, that's agenda, this a plan. This was strategically thought out and implemented by the elites on the top. People, man, y'all don't really understand. I don't fully understand, but every day we're gonna learn, grow, and develop. Now, let's move on. We done got the yeah. So Rex 84, that was designed by President Ronald Reagan. It was set up to detain and deport illegal immigrants. It applied C&C measures, capture and custody, for those of y'all who don't know, against political opponents, resistors, or even outspoken critics who the administration considered dangerous. Now look, now it was designed to detain and deport illegal immigrants. And who is to be considered an illegal immigrant? You know, that's a kind of gray area. Okay, then they got the measures implemented against people who is outspoken critics of their administration or considered dangerous. Mass detention facilities, also known as concentration camps, are right now being set up at a number of U.S. military installations on secret orders from the president. Now, dang, they building facilities and installations, and hey, I just got to pick up the term, man. Right now, we in a point of time, man. It ain't no time to put on the brakes or put on some show for the camera. Yeah, I might not be interacting with y'all that much because I'm busy. Just give me a moment. Shut up. Okay, now I'm back. My bad, y'all. Okay, class 9 session. Okay. So the Global 2000 plan that was designed at the request of Jimmy Carter. The report deals with the global management of land, resources, and population control. Now look that up. Global 2000. It is an ideological document that warns that the earth is being overpopulated. It warns that the land and natural resources at a premium. It is a document of fear developed to make whites panic at the zero population growth as other groups are growing. Okay, so that was in 2000, the global plan 2000. So they was already talking about people just now on the old depopulation agenda, the Georgia Guidestones, all this stuff. They just now getting on that. But even before 2000, it's like 90, 94, 93 when they first started setting that off, like realizing. And then even back in the biblical days, you remember in the scriptures where they were slaying all the not Egyptian children, the Hebrew children and the Israelite children, and they were scared. They was like, man, we got to do them in or depopulate them lest they grow larger and then, take us over too. Let me get this mask out. I only wore that because I had to go take me a drug test earlier, and I just never took it out. But yeah, that was global management of land, resources, and population control. And then later came the Tuskegee study in Macon County, Alabama on black men in 1972. Now, I know people are familiar with that nowadays. You got to be, because that's one of the things that stood out through the test of time. Every now and again it'll pop out the cut as a reminder that, don't trust these people. Don't do nothing like that. Okay, so AIDS was produced. Polio. And in 2003, hold up, man, I just totally messed that up. AIDS was produced. Polio, too. And in 2003, the pesticide study was taken or tested on 60 low-income families in Jacksonville, Florida. 2003, the pesticide study was tested on 60 low-income families in Jacksonville, Florida. Man, they was giving these mugs $970 plus a camera recording and some clothing in exchange for first forcing their children to absorb the pesticides. What's up? Okay, I'm sorry once again, man. That's a lot of stuff going on in there. But oh man. Oh yeah, we on the them getting the $970 plus a camera cord and some clothing in exchange for forcing their children to absorb pesticides. Harvard and Yale University is breeding grounds for future presidents, blue bloods, and special elite children to plan for future instructions on how to wipe out certain ethnic groups in case of natural disaster like Hurricane Katrina and increasingly more and more severe hurricanes to come. So they already predicted more hurricanes to come and to be, tough. However, Harvard and Yale are breeding grounds for special elite children, as in their youth, from their youth up, like they do in Afghanistan and stuff. Okay, they grow strong in their political skills, and it has been recorded in the 40s through Franklin D. Roosevelt administration, who knew the levee in New Orleans surrounded by the pump train Pontchartrain River could only stand a .3 hurricane by the Safford-Simpson hurricane scale. The scale is a 1 to 5 rating based on a hurricane's intensity. The scale is usually give an estimate of potential property damage and flooding expected along the coast from a hurricane landfall. Wind speed is a determining factor in the scale. If the government would have fixed the $2 million problem then, it would not have had to spend $30 million a day. So we see they could have just fixed that joint with $2 million, but they saw they ain't worried about it. So then they end up having to pay the 30. Let me see. I need to get with my drink. I need to get a sip with my whiskey. I've been going in. Bless up 7 up. Hidden treasures. Okay. So they grow strong their political skills. It's been recorded in the 40s through Franklin D. Roosevelt administration. They knew the levee was weak, could have fixed it with $2 million. End up paying $30 million. And it could take billions to rebuild New Orleans. Curtain being pulled aside, and it's a big division in our society. The politicians ain't got no real concern for the citizens of society. They've been stealing money from the taxpayer for years. How can we count on Bush and his administration when they fail to appear before the United Nations to apologize for the slavery? FEMA won't never rush to the aid of the people until they've a foolproof plan on how to extort billions of dollars from the citizens during the relief plan, kind of like now with the COVID-19. It was the devastating effect how the government responded to the New Orleans crisis. Although the political system played a big part in the Hurricane Katrina, social system played its part as well. The U.S. government is made up of 92% of Europeans in office. The blacks that are in office, they pawns for the high up. Condoleezza Rice, Secretary of State, SOS, is just an image wearing a black mask for the government benefit. And I kind of agree with that too. We need large numbers of blacks in decision-making positions in the impending Class 5 hurricane that is targeted Santa Barbara instead of New Orleans. Go. Okay. I don't care. Dang. I'm sorry, y'all. I got an anger problem. Yeah. So that's just what it is. That I don't like being interrupted. It makes me very mad. I just like doing me. Like, even though whatever, we go. All right. The evacuation would have went smoothly. The aid would have been there on time. Appropriate housing would have been set up for 24 hours ahead of time and after the deadly hurricane. We were dealing with two different social groups, the minority and the majority. It's sad to see that the greatest nation on the face of the earth after 1,000 years of slavery is still judging people by the color of their skin. New Orleans is the birthplace for jazz and blues. I don't like spies either. It is a home to Fats, Domino, and Louis Price, and many more great musicians. She's known for her gumbo and southern fried foods in today's society. Culture and race do play a big part of what's going on. There is no longer freedom of speech to our U.S. Constitution. Freedom is no longer free. Ask Kanye West. Hey, can everyone ever become fair and just in a society and politically and economically united? It's yet to be seen. So if I think the Kanye quote here referring to like people you can something about you can buy, but you can't buy freedom. Down and when it falls down, since oh yeah, he said the police. That's how I treat them. We buy our way out of jail, but we can't buy freedom. Yeah, that's deep, but okay. This racism do exist. Next section. Throughout history, racism has always existed in some form or another. Great empires have fallen. Natural despair has happened through all family structures without putting up a fight during the Great Depression era. However, racism still exists. To this day, much effort is being made to hide the fact from the general population and the high degrees of civilization that was stolen from ancient Kemet. Although the ancient Kemet history or ancient comet history was stolen throughout the first 4,000 years of recorded history, 6,000 to 1,000 BC. It is well known that Western people had attained very little cultural development and was forever indebted to the black nations. Ancient Egypt, Sumer, Babylon, Kanaru, Harappa Valley, and Kush, which is Ethiopia, for the foundation of their scientific, religious, and philosophical accomplishments. Racism is the work of petty officials, small traders, and colonials who have toiled much without great success. When I turn on the TV, I see that blacks are still being lynched in the South. I say that we have been lied to. Hitler is not dead. The Jews have been insulted, mistreated, and persecuted. I say that we have been lied to. Hitler is not dead. When I finally turn on my TV and hear that in Africa, forced labor has been inaugurated and legalized, I say that we have certainly been lied to. Hitler is not dead. Before the Europeans became its victims, they were accomplices. The Nazism they tolerated before succumbing to it on their own continent, they exonerated it. They closed their eyes to it. They just legitimized it because even back then, it had been employed only against non-Europeans as well. They was responsible for it, and it drips, it seeps and wells from every crack in Western Christianity until it engulfs that civilization in a bloody sea. We was told to forget about the African slave trade and to move on, but they don't tell the Jews to forget about the Holocaust and move on. White folks today say, I ain't own any slaves. I ain't got nothing to do with your history. I ain't have anything to do with the police officer busting the black guy during the traffic stop. What did the white folks do to challenge the injustice, even though they seen it? What they do to challenge it? I mean, they had to see it too. You know they seen it. Okay. Slavery was 400 years of brutality. Even though the whites today did not have anything to do with the mistreatment or had any slave, they benefited from it. That's the thing. See, they benefited from it. And they benefited through secondary effects, economically, socially, and politically. The white family was the agent of a certain system. The society is indeed the sum of all the families in it. Family is an institution that prefigures a broader institution. The social and national groups I said that wrong too. The family is an institution that prefigures a broader institution, the social or the national groups. The blacks recognize the unreality of many of the beliefs that he had adopted with reference to the subjective attitude of the white race, like a foreign troop. We have to defend ourselves against them because they're unjust breaking down our doors, shooting black men and women down in the streets, and brutalizing our youth. The power structure was the fascist police against the people moving for freedom and liberation. It keeps our people divided. And when I mention our people, I'm talking about a certain class of people, poor blacks and whites. We are all in the same struggle. The system would have you believe that you was better than us or we better than you, but we all in the same social class in the struggle. People living in wine country in that city of the Big Stone Gap are still using their houses, sleeping in the woods, and poverty is at an all-time high. The government don't care because they is poor white trash. The KKK wants to keep oppressing the black race in the area when they need to impress the mayor for an equal opportunity to raise their people out of poverty. America's supposed to be for the home of the brave and the free. There's supposed to be freedom and bravery, but there's no free world. How in the world can America be free when somewhere between 40 and 50 million poor oppressed people are living at subsistence levels or below? Come on now. See, people don't really care. They don't want to hear that. They want you to lie. They want you to tell them about take K going on the race. They, they ain't. But that's up to y'all. I'm just doing my deal. I'm doing my bid. Okay, we need to take a stand and unite for one common cause. The unity of our people and the unity of various nationalities. These are basic guarantees of the short triumph of a cause to end racism on all levels. Selassie. Rastafari, no Selassie. And why I say that is because I rock with the Rasta way of life. Ital is vital. And even Prince Tafari McConnell or Haile Selassie, that's what Rastafarian came from, Prince Tafari McConnell. Which is Haile Selassie. He said, "Don't praise me because I'm only man." There's several radio interviews and things you can find to sustain that claim. Then he got mixed up with them Italians. You know, he wasn't really he wasn't no soldier. He's not nobody to be praised. You know what I'm saying? But racism is a form of aggression directed toward someone of the opposite race. It is an act of mental war that can get physical. I don't hate the person because of the color of their skin. I hate the oppression we subject to daily by racist individuals and other races who attack and murder and brutalize us. And politics is war without bloodshed. And war is a continuation of politics with bloodshed. Antagonistic contradiction are created by the government attacking the people on all levels. And when the people disagree with those political decisions made to create a race division, they send in forces to destroy the mindset of the people, where they whip that stick out on them. We should always treat each other as equal. The masses of people do not want war, but at the same time, we realize the only way you can get rid of war many times is through a process of war, because war has been unjustly waged against all non-whites on an intellectual level, through the media, church, the jobs, and in our everyday living conditions. We should always disobey racism on an international level. We should seek to live together for one common goal, which is peace. Okay, racism still exists in America, part 2. See, I was gonna break it down into sections, but on my next ones, I'll do that. My future videos, I'll do them in sections because I know that's a lot of information for people to sit back and digest, like the Rex Plan, Global 2000, all that. It's pretty deep. And I got that kind of, that therapeutic voice, or I be told that when I be sitting and I'm talking to people, I'm reading to people, that it's like tranquil. But yeah, that's besides the point. Okay, during the early 1900s, America was deep in depression, known as the Cold War. Poor whites and poor blacks were being oppressed by the United States government. White movements began to form in the early 1900s to keep the so-called Negroes and poor whites in their rightful place. The Night Riders, Ku Klux Klan, and the Women's Party of the KKK Citizens Council. Okay, see, I didn't really ever heard of that one. The Night Rider. Okay, Ku Klux Klan, the Women's Party of the KKK. Citizen Council members were formed by racists and Europeans to control the economical system. In 1921, Black Wall Street. Y'all gotta go do y'all's research on the Black Wall Street. I need to take my joint. I gotta let my head down on this one. I gotta let my head down on this one. Yeah. Gotta let my head down on that one. Okay. But anyway, where was he at? Okay, 1921, Black Wall Street in Oklahoma City was burnt to ashes. Dozens and hundreds was lynched, as would be expected. The Ku Klux Klan, in consort with ranking city officials and many other sympathizers, spearheaded this racist rampage. Also, movements began to form to apprise targeted blacks and poor whites how to protect themselves from hate organizations and the powerful government who used the Klan to enforce colony control. Organizations was formed such as the Deacons for Self-Defense and Justice, the Garveyites, the Young Lord, the Ranger, and the Black Panther Party for self-defense. With these groups forming a new revolution, a new revolution started. Everyone was allowed to bear arms. The civil rights movement, that's in it too. Okay, so I ain't really know much about. I know about the Garveyites. I didn't know about Deacons for Self-Defense and Justice. I'm researching that. And the Young Lord and the Ranger, Black Peace Stone Ranger, and the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. With these groups forming, a new revolution had started. Everyone was allowed to bear arms. The civil rights movement engaging in the force and violence of the state under the national sign of the militant pacification. Is secured by the success of Gandhian nonviolence in India. Dang was not without its own global analog and apparel. So yeah, y'all looking at Gandhi too. He was a Indian dude. He was all about peace. They end up killing him. They end up assassinating him. But he was real deep and peaceful and in tune with himself. He tried to save the people. He showed love. No division, no hate. Okay. Although we living in the 21st century, we are still being oppressed by the same racist Jim Crow type laws as yesteryear. Whether it's in the home, in the workplace, in the media, country was formed off of wars, racism, and free slave labor. Humans was captured from their homeland by some of the founding fathers of the country that are looking to spread imperialism. Don't forget George Washington. Bing. Okay, Christopher Columbus, he didn't discover America. How you going to discover something that was already here and inhabited and then discovered by other cultures from the South Americas and, what they call Africa, Sumerian and all that? They had already had knowledge of this. They had knowledge of planets that they just now coming to light of, and they thought was just mythical that they coming in the light of now. Boom. So we got Christopher Columbus, Willie Lynch, and John Hawkins. There was a few men responsible for spreading racism, fascism, and imperialism. And they still on it today in their history books, and they celebrated on certain holidays. There ain't no difference than the early 1900s and the day. And that was in 2007 too. It's a shame to see how the media exploits and portrays our youth today. They exploit it through colleges, advertisements, modeling it through airways. Take Don Imus for an example, who made a racist remark through the broadcasting station owned by MSNBC. Now, y'all look that up. He had the nerves to take away the glory of Rutgers women's basketball team, who after being the underdogs had made it all the way to the finals. He made the remark, "That's some rough girls from Rutgers, man. They got tattoos. That's some nappy-headed hoes there. I'm going to tell you that this is for a time making racist remarks. This is on MSNBC. Now y'all go look that up. I'm gonna look that interview up when I get out here. All right. So, however, MSNBC, they ain't, say nothing. They started losing millions of dollars in sponsors and hardship from Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, and the media, and so fired him. Although, so that sounded like cancel culture back then. Although rappers, comics, and black entertainments use the word hoe, it don't give white America the right to flip the script around on black society. Don Imus was a racist and still is a racist and should have been fired. 50 Cent, Jay-Z, Lil Kim, and many more rappers are sellouts to the black community. They're called political terms. They display an image that sounds uneducated to the masses of educated black people. And we should stop buying their albums and boycott their record labels who support them. What type of images these rappers trying to create for the black community? Dang. That's sick with it right there. See, we was already in a mess back then. And man, Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, man, them some agents. Them agents of destruction, darkness, and the devil. I don't think they never made any intent or effort to do anything to really support our community. All for self gain. What Jesse Jackson talking gun violence sitting right there when Martin Luther King caught one to the neck. He knew he was going too. Man, then I gotta work on that too, cause it's a bunch of rappers and stuff that I look up to. Me being a person who make music, you know what I'm saying, and drop tracks. I look up, and before I got spiritually endowed, I was heavy off into that lost illusion. And it is easily to get swayed into it and hard to get back from, because you still remember songs from when you was like 5 or 6. It's in your soul and it's a part of you. And what you listening to and all that's becoming a part of you. But yeah, let's go on and put Jay-Z and Lil Kim 50. They political time, these images they creating, the downgrade, and it worked too. Cause I used to listen to Flock and some of them. I used to want to go do. I thought they was really doing that stuff, and I know in the very beginning, yeah, they was really out there, but it wasn't on no. It was more like we was fly trying to get money. We doing our thing, looking out for our community. You stay in your lane, I'm gonna stay in mine. And now it's all out of control. That music used to have me wanting to go out and slide. And now you see today, most society is imitating the rappers and imitating Facebook and what they see through this media, because you are what you eat. And if they eating this all day and not eating this, or not jumping in the scriptures, or not reading the Stewart's Wood novel, you know what I'm saying? What do you think you're going to get? What do you think the results of that going to be? I mean, look at what happened to the generation before us. You know what I'm saying? In the generation before them, you could see the decline. My generation was worse than the previous generation. And then the generation now is it is what it is, man. I can't speak on much because I played a lot, a part in the contributing to that. And still today, maybe in some inadvertently ways, I still, encourage indulge in certain things that ain't beneficial, but we going there. We getting. I told y'all, man, I'm putting the gas down. we gonna do this for real, man. Ain't nothing gonna stop us, man. A death, hell, and the grave can't stop us. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, the Holy Ghost, Yahweh and no way. In the name of Christ, the way, the truth, and life, the 3 and 1, how I come. Roster man block. But anyway, so we shouldn't use the word nigga or nigger to substitute any word in the English language. So many of our black trailblazers fought to be free in a divided society. They was murdered for fighting for their rights. So stop calling yourself black, white, or Negro. We ain't no color. We all have a nationality from the land that we came from. We ain't moved forward since slavery. The civil rights era or the black power movement, because we still clinging to the names that allude to slavery. Now, dang. That's deep, boy. That's deep, boy. I mean, this the only one I'm giving y'all full through, because, man, there's a lot of food to digest. You got to sit and dissect this joint, bro. All right. Here's justice. To whom it may concern. Let me show y'all the oh snap, check that out. Of fascism. Look at it, got you. Yes, you see his black eye. That's I like it. Y'all get these distros. I'm gonna give y'all the address and stuff in the end of this video. I'm gonna give y'all brothers information and y'all can write him, because he's been banned all them years. He still, I try to keep in contact with my prisoners or my real righteous people. But a lot of people forgot about him. A lot of them, their moms died. They've been in there 20-something years, They need help and support from people like us, The real. Okay. Oh, dang. It's not mine. Y'all remember? That's what they say right there. It's not mine. Y'all remember the T.I. joint where he got punked? And no, it ain't mine. Oh, that's what that reminded me of when I had read that. Let's see how that's in my soul from that episode was 10 plus years ago. And I just brought it up just for looking at it's not mine. All right, America, we is tired of your unjust laws toward us. That's been going on for 460 years and better. You got a campaign going on right now for governor. For governor, Bob McDonald stated that if I win governor, I'm going to stop prisoners from wasting taxpayer dollar by filing frivolous lawsuits and enforce strict laws to keep prisoners locked up. And see, that's crazy. But I mean, you shouldn't be surprised nowadays. And every time a politician want to take some form of office, they target the prisoner. Society getting sick and tired of you holding their loved ones for capital gain. And I can vouch and verify for that, because I've been incarcerated, and man, if you get a write-up or you allegedly get in trouble, you gotta pay for getting in trouble. $10 for a sick call, $10 for a write-up, phone calls out the roof, gotta buy the canteen, you gotta buy the hygiene. I mean, it's a money racket. And they don't treat you good, and they try every way to keep you down. So I know they target prisoners and political prisoners. I knew a dude who was talking about sovereign citizenship and all that back then when I first got locked up. I thought dude was crazy. I thought dude was bugging out, but man, come to find out, man, when they deported him, he got so slick. They deported him out of America. He ain't allowed. He got banned from the corporate America because he tapped into it. But I guess I wasn't ready for that level of knowledge at the time. And it would have been beneficial, man. It's gonna take me a while to catch up to where he was in a matter of 6 months, but we locked up So he had, you know what I'm saying? He told me he was getting out. He had a body too. But somebody tried to get up at him. You know, he blamed him down, went on, laid him down. I don't know if it was really like that or whatever. That's besides the point. But me personally, I would have justified that if I would have somebody coming at me, you know, and I had to lay him down. Hey, better you than me, right? But yeah, so you gotta peep game, man. They target the prisoners for capital gain. Traditional American justice, the very application of it has created what it claims to remedy. For it sighs are truly covered and it does not see black experience. Least of all, does it consider it valid. Does not your Constitution guarantee a man's freedom and human dignity against the state of encroachment, or does the innate fear of the rebellious slave in the heart of the slave master continue to this day to negate all those guarantees in cases of poor people? Does this cultural racist phobia make one forget and abridge his own constitution as the court has done to us? March 1857, through the voice of Chief Justice Roger Taney, the court ruled that people of African descent are not and cannot be citizens of the United States and cannot sue in any court of the United States. It is proclaimed that black people have no rights which whites are bound to respect. This is a classic example of a way of American justice. Man, now, yeah, you don't hear that. This March 1857, through the voice of Chief Justice Roger Taney, the court ruled that people of African descent are not and cannot be citizens of the United States and cannot sue in any court of the United States. It is proclaimed that black people have no rights which whites are bound to respect. This is a classic example of the American way of justice. Now they said that was a law. You are not and cannot be a citizen of the United States of America. And to this public religion said, but they modified and tweaked it to make you believe and say you ain't black. They had to get you to call yourself black and not know yourself, you know, so you would be subject because it says people of African descent are not citizens and cannot. So the black come into place, Black's Law Dictionary. See, y'all, I know y'all might think some people out here might think, oh, he's a thug. They might think I'm an odd cat, which I am, but I'm dangerous, man. Just because I'm reading straight through this and, you know what I'm saying, chopping up with y'all one-on-one, don't get it twisted. I'm a dangerous weapon of knowledge walking up out here. Yeah, you best believe it. Okay. So in court, you were asked to submit to a code of laws, your laws, not their laws, black and poor people. But they are your laws and your laws because we were never asked if we consented to having them as our laws. Nor are these laws relevant to our ghetto reality. These are your laws, and we find the race of an oppressor. These laws perpetuate our plantation continuation. Right now, in 2005, when that was written, 90% of the inmates of your prisons are non-white by your fascist forefathers. Just law in reality shall not be defamed by its dual application according to racial and social values because of wealth, position, and influence. Wealth, position, and influence. Wealth, position, and then that's their game. Wealth, position, and influence. History provides the doubt of the American system of justice when comparison of a class orientation defines the degree of rights, respect, and justice the individual shall receive. Political favor as existed then for judicial position has not varied even to the present. With such political relationships existence, have the courts in practice escaped from the abuse of authority, which is a threat to the development of a free nation? Fascism encroaches in just such a manner. Historically and qualitatively, change in society still reveals a lack of human interaction with the racially, economically, and politically exploited and isolated black and poor people. The preceding chronology substantiates a blatant contempt for black people and other non-white people by not recognizing their rights and liberties as a matter of law or morality, and with total disregard to our society and our social reality. It's an insult to us, and we can see the yesterday to the day in the history of a particular case runs up the same tracks as does our people. Long struggle to justify the inhumane treatment of other human beings, which the America has to conceal from himself and others, his oppression of blacks. My. Man, this video should break when people start clicking in and getting on this, man, this should break the internet. This should break the scale. Okay. But again, the white dominant society has long had absolute power, especially over black people. So it was no difficult matter to ignore them, to find them, forget them, and if they persisted, pacify or punish them. Population control. That's bro, Honorable Mark A. Reed Bay, right there. We is living in the 21st century where there's high gas prices and automobiles almost outnumber the people, and carbon dioxide pollutes the air that we breathe. The ozone layers are slowly fading away. The government that we are part of in so many ways is keeping a blind eye on the greenhouse effect while he races into space to build a space station for them to live in when the planet is no longer any good to them. Dang, now you see, this was back in 2005, 2007. I know I keep saying that, but where they been going here lately? They been going to space, right? The space stations and stuff, you know. So, how far along you think they are? I should ask. Alright, so now they gonna rape, pillage, and plunder till the land ain't no longer good to them. There's over 400 million people globally who are destitute and dying due to polluted air, water, and genocidal monopoly. However, our society has been poorly miseducated through the school system, through the media, and through the national security that controls our local news stations about the third world countries such as China, Asia, and Africa. These buildings is being erected and contractors with the cheapest bid will get the job. The contractors are illegally dumping hazardous waste in the water that we drink and in the air that we breathe. Landfills that is ran by your local mayor's request is guilty of polluting the water and the air that we breathe as well. Dumping ain't safe anywhere. Landfills is supposed to be legal dumping place for our garbage that was designed by the government. Most landfills are located in poor neighborhoods or run down communities and production factories that let off hazardous smoke. What do they have to do with population control? It's not strange that China, Asia's, and Africa's water is polluted, or should I say that certain parts of these countries, the water is polluted. China, Asia, and Africa had the largest population in the world. China has over 1.5 billion people. Africa consists of many countries such as Egypt, Ethiopia, Sudan, etc. Okay, and then Africanus, that was the white man named Africanus that named Africa, is what far as I'm aware of. All right. According to the Census Bureau, all three countries that I mentioned concerning Africa have over 70 million people. However, we must keep in mind that China has the largest military in the world, and they print the American dollar illegally. They don't have to depend on another country to survive. I ain't none China prints their money. American missionaries are around the globe under the guise of Christianity and humanitarianism, having concerns for or helping to improve the welfare and happiness of the people while they're destroying us. These people are part of a conspiracy of the United States government, the CIA, and the FBI to destroy individuals with melanin in their skin who produce at a higher rate than white people. Africa, China, and Asia were once composed of pure Africans, Chinese, and Asians before the European settlers migrated to their region. The richer European established colonies in North America, waging wars and enslaving masses of people from the darker part of the earth to create a superpower nation to compete with Russia and China. All European countries have derived ideas of racial and cultural superiority between the 15th and 19th centuries while engaging in the genocide and enslavement of non-white people. Disease was created to control the population during 1932 and 1972. The Tuskegee syphilis study. AIDS was cooked up by the Center for Disease Control in Atlanta, which took place in the early 70s and 80s, which they denied to this day. Okay, this is allegedly, this guy's alleging this. You got to do your own research. In the earlier days, there was a widespread open lynching and castration of black men. In the 21st century, we have large prison populations of non-white people, and we are being experimented on in this system through the food, the water, the medical department. Birth control pills are being used in poor communities, control the birth rate with so many young black men, especially locked up. The birth rate kept down. Plus, this plays havoc with families and communities. Okay, grocery stores are buying cloned fruit and vegetables. Animals is being cloned as well. The poisons that are being injected in our food chain are destroying our population. Obesity and bad diet-related disease are an epidemic. There are a lot of methods that control the population. In order for this form of genocide to stop, we must be aware of what's going on in the government. Okay. So, where's that one joint? Oh, yeah, through the food. You know what I'm saying? Monsanto's, patenting GMO, you know, this stuff gets deep. Start looking up into these P. I better get some seeds too. Because this was back in 2005 and 2007. Now you see most of what he's saying, it's already came into effect. And ain't nobody can stop it. Okay. There are a lot of methods to control the population. In order for this form of genocide to stop, we must be aware of what's going on in our environment in which we live in. And we must stop cutting down the trees without planting any new ones. Trees produce the oxygen for us to maintain life. We must protect the environment that we live in by creating clean water, stopping illegal dumping, and polluting the air. Hey, I'm with that. He wanted the May 1st, 2006. He wanted to boycott that illegal dumping. He had a lot of movements going on. And I feel that's kind of what my life is supposed to be among the legends of now, is continuing on the fight, and dropping the knowledge. And y'all know, like the wildfires and the rainforest in California every year. Look at all them trees, and then the illegal logging and stuff that was going on. You look at all that stuff and you like, whoa. Is it a plan? Is they trying to deplete us of oxygen or whatever they trying to do? I think so. I think it's deeper than that. All right, boom. Illustration, boom. That's one of a Native American. Why is this American government worried about illegal immigration when this country was built on the sweat and blood of our ancestors from Africa, Mexico, Puerto Rico, El Salvador, and China? America has enslaved over 300 million people from around the globe. Think of that. And 300,000 people from around the globe. People, we have fought in Confederate war to be free. The Emancipation Proclamation didn't help. We even fought in the Vietnam War. Do the Constitution protect millions of children that was born in Vietnam by American men and women? No, it don't. People of color are considered as illegal immigrants here in North America, even though we built it. In the wake of 9/11, President Bush and his cabinet pushed for strong laws to control the borders and illegal immigrants. On May 1st, 2006, millions of immigrants marched nationwide. Over 600,000 Hispanics marched in Los Angeles. Over 500,000 marched in Chicago, and over 100,000 marched in Markham X Park in Washington, D.C. This march was pre-planned. All illegal immigrants were told not to go to school, work, or open up their business. By uniting as a whole, it crashed the economy. You hear that? In May 2006, they crashed the economy, and that was just the illegals. So that lets you know your houses wouldn't be getting built, infrastructure wouldn't be getting built, a lot of stuff wouldn't be getting built if it wasn't for so-called illegal immigrants. And they illegal themselves, you know what I'm saying? Because you're not from this country originally. So yeah, you an immigrant. And Cali, Utah, Arkansas, all Arizona, all that used to belong to Mexico. You know what I'm saying? America lost billions of dollars. This created a crash in the American workforce as well. However, it showed the effect that illegal immigrants have on the communities worldwide. Why shouldn't the government give the millions of illegal immigrants in American amnesty? They're not giving blacks jobs. Most of the black working class is in prison, working for slave wages. Mind you, it's also when our Hispanic brothers aren't making minimum wage. Those that want to score the struggle with ethnic differences are the one who is aiding and maintaining the exploitation of the masses of the people. Poor whites from Europe, poor blacks, browns, red Indians, poor Chinese and Japanese, and the workers at large. We take the lowest paid jobs to support our families. The racism in American society would not allow us to get ahead. Racism and ethnic differences allow the power structure to exploit the masses of workers in this country, because that's the key by which they maintain control. To divide the people and conquer them is the objective of the major power structure. It's the ruling class, the very small minority, the few of avaricious, demagogic people who control and infest the government. Our government hires immigrants for low wages and works them like slaves. However, They know that the individual doesn't belong in their country, but they still hire them. This is our country, and the real illegal immigrants here are the Europeans, and they should go back to Europe. Injustice is showing you the injustice system. That's the Abraham Lincoln joint in a prison gates right there. All right. The Bureau of Justice statistics show that the nation's jail population is near 700,000, with more than half of the number being blacks and Latinos, more than 90% of who are adult males. The number of jail inmates is increasing every year for the future of American capital gain. Your parole system is being accused of branding inmates with slave numbers and not allowing the opportunity to be free. America was built on slavery, and it still exists today through your system of denying inmates to parole and being close to their loved ones. However, you get a European man parole, some who committed crimes against humanity, and it's such as child molesters, and that's something I do agree with, because you can look in your local, what you call that, blotter, and you can see there's a lot of sex crimes that go on. And look in your sex registry, you know what I'm saying, and look how lenient they get off. And I know some people who got statutory that was raped, and the person had the fake ID and all that, but the father of this person they had allegedly slept with was raping her the whole time. He got 2 years probation. They got near 15 years for this white girl. So yeah, I think it still exists up there. That was like 2016 or 17 around when that happened. The parole board, the federal government, and hundreds of corporations must take responsibility for committing crimes against a certain class of people. The crime that you committed is denying inmates that are eligible for parole to parole out into society. Why? Because you'll benefit economically and continues to have a job sitting on the parole board as an overseer. This is a different form of modern slavery. This is no different than what J.P. Morgan, Tech Boston, insurance companies, AET&A, New York Life, the railroads, Norfolk, Southern, Union and Pacific, and CSR. Them are the people who really own some stuff. Tobacco companies, R.J. Reynolds and Brown and Williamson, and a textile manufacturer, West Point Stevens, did from 1831 to 1865. They all had ties to slavery and profited from the slave labor of black inmates today. Inmates today in prison make chairs, desks, tables, shoes, clothes, and license plates, eyewear, etc. through the Virginia Correctional Enterprises. It's all systematic. And them names, okay, Brown and Williamson Tobacco Company, R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company. They had their people. They benefited from slavery. J.P. Morgan, Tech Boston, several insurance companies, New York Life, the railroads, Norfolk, Southern, and Union Pacific, and CSR. Whatever them is, they contributed in slavery. Okay. In this, under that picture, it says the parole board continues to turn down for the serious nature of the crime due to the free labor they are getting out of them. The board don't have a legitimate right to continue to turn inmates down. This is double jeopardy. The serious nature of the crime will never change. If an inmate was repeatedly denied parole, he or she could be held until they died. General to the senator who would argue the parole bill, Valera. Okay, this The General Assembly building, for those who want to stand up and make a change and get your petitions and all that structured out, straightened out. And this is the General Assembly building on 901 Capitol Street. That's in Richmond, Virginia, 23219. Y'all go and holler at them. This what my brother he wrote to him. He said, "I'm an inmate who was sentenced before 1995. I'm a member of several help organizations. Fed Up, that's one organization y'all look up. UNIA, that's the second one. The VACURE, or the Virginia Cure, and the NAACP. He's a part of all the organization. He's been up for parole 4 times and was turned down for the serious nature of the crime. The serious nature of the crime will never change. The characteristics of my behavior can change. My concern is how inmates is being used for capital gain, warehouse like slaves on a sugar plantation. However, denying inmates parole helps board members subsist their jobs by making $90,000 a year at taxpayers' expense just for sitting on the board. As inmates, our voices must be heard. When we write the parole board, they don't respond. When family members call, they cannot get through. When they do get through, they being lied to. The taxpayers are being rocked to sleep by the media. Violent crimes have gone down within the last 10 years, according to the Bureau of Criminal Justice. Prison is supposed to be for rehabilitation, not for storing human cargo for capital within the prison system. There are programs to rehabilitate individuals who are entering back into society. There are programs such as Substance House, anger management, and general education programs. There's college for a few, which is not fair to myself and others trying to get a higher education besides a GED upon completing a treatment program. The parole board still considered us an outcast. Why? It's because prison is a multi-billion-dollar industry annually. Prison inmates manufacture anything from auto parts, electronics to furniture. One has society believe that we only make license plates. In the state system in California, inmates make Lee jeans. So in California, in the state prison, they making Lee jeans that sell for $60 and t-shirts for $10 and Trinidad tees. The state don't worry about paying unemployment, health care, workman's comp, insurance, and paid vacation. This save them millions of dollars every year. If the prisoners refuse to work, they be charged disciplinary according to the DOC. Most important, they can lose good time, and that's credits that'll like reduce a good days that'll let you come home early. So there's over 2 million blacks and Latinos nationwide locked up in the United States in various prisons, jails, and detention centers. There are also a sizable number of poor whites, way higher than any European country. It's no longer about race. We are dealing with a class struggle that's targeting the poor and the working class. It's pure out genocide. Inmates do learn good work habits, morals, and how to become a man while in prison. However, this is also a breeding ground for hepatitis and AIDS. The Center for Disease Control in Atlanta states 85% of the prison population has hepatitis C. Dang, 85%. The government and medical departments know this. We are looked at as a real estate in a big time business. They are racing to invest in us. Can we receive a second chance? Education is not high in prison as it seems to be for society and the media. I believe that education reform should be addressed at your next available assembly meeting for every inmate and not just a few. And parole should be received for inmates that meet the standards. Jobs and programs should be created for inmates who are entering back into society so we can be productive and no longer be a feature of the status quo of failure. Personally, I used to think that the reason we don't value work is because we do not get compensated in a fashion that allows us to pay our bills. What's the point in working if you can hardly lift up yourself above the poverty line? So I look at this statement from my wisdom standpoint. The answer is freedom. Please, Mr. Senator, help us change these fascist views. And thank you for your time and your support. Dang, shoot, I might want to take a trip to Cali, and if they making them lead jeans at the prison selling $60, they probably making something else by now. But dang, shoot, y'all making them, let me go out back. I seen you Greek dollars and JPay or something. But y'all can see, man, how this whole thing is structured up, or his opinions on certain things. And I do admit that, like, the educational system out here, it failed you, and it really indoctrinates you and having you off into some crazy stuff. Like, what's Bob Black Sheep? How good it was? Yes, sir. 3 by 4, 1 for the master, 1 for the name, 1 for the little boy. That sound, that's some crazy stuff. Why would you teach a child that? Or row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, life is but a dream. That's some deep stuff to think about. At the time, we just like, whatever. We think we having a good time. But they wired our mind to put spells on us and let us down certain paths. So we'll be out of whack or submissive and subordinate slave. Now, I'm a self-taught person, and I give the Most High credit for, touching my soul, touching my mind, and letting me sift and bob and weed through certain things. Because I learned most of my science and psychology, personal behavior, or behavior analysis, and all that. I learned all that in prison. I'm smarter than a lot of college people. Like, if you put me in a person that's up there at Harvard and Yale down, and we debated on certain topics, or we got involved in certain criteria, I leave them mugs in the dust, and they'll be like, "Whoa," because they program. They don't know. They don't know it how we know. And yeah, so that's the end of it. I'm gonna give you his info. It's the Honorable Mark A. Reed, Reid Bay, Bey, number 21660, WRSP, PO Box 759, Big Stone Gap, Virginia 24219. And see, they gave my man 51 years and 4 months, saying that due to the severity of his crime, they ain't gonna parole him or whatever, which that's all bogus. But not only they demonized, and they gave him a 666 number. Now, if y'all want to write to the distro and have some sent to y'all, they take donations and stuff, like money orders and stuff. But wait till you get established before you start doing that, because they got catalogs, people that need to be right, political prisoner, and need some assistance for us out here. You know what I'm saying? But the address to the distro, this South Chicago ABC Zion distro, PO Box 721, Homewood, Illinois 60430. So now y'all go hit them up, man. And if you want a copy of this personally, you know what I'm saying? It's called Get Up and Stand Up, Unite and Fight for What Is Right. The artistic, literary, and political thoughts of Young Gun, Mark A. Reed Bay. And that's about it, man. We done finished that pamphlet. I'm sorry, like I said, I jumped it all together. And, this takes a lot of energy and stuff, and it's pretty lengthy. So I do apologize for that. But that's what kind of time we on. Each one teach one. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoy, man. Y'all stay peaceful, stay motivated, and all that. I've been working on music. I'm always gonna do that. Keep your head up, 7 up, bless up, 7 up, 777 monster. Piece of that lint. But yeah, man, it's been nice, man. I'm gonna have to go handle some business. I'm gonna have to, do a little bit of research on things, and I'll get back with y'all, man. Thanks for y'all who stopped by. Those of y'all who do stop by, ask y'all to like, share, and subscribe, because we coming with that crazy conscious content. We conscious, but we gonna have a little fun, and people call woke and illuminated people, enlightened people, crazy conscious content. But anyway, man, it's your boy D Block coming straight out the cut. Yeah.